Hi, I'm Sonal. I'm a teacher for Sarah Salaki's writing school, and I am taking over. Anyway, I am coming to you live from a virtual kindergarten, and so I would really love. So I met Sarah when she was teaching writing classes from her kitchen table in Parkdale, and at the time I couldn't write without a class. I just would try, and I just wouldn't write anything. I thought that was a problem with me, that I wasn't a good enough or more dedicated enough writer because I just couldn't write without the structure of a class. And when I realized that, no, that wasn't me, that wasn't a problem, that didn't mean I couldn't be a writer. What it was just resistance. And every writer, from like the most accomplished to the least accomplished, and everyone in between struggles with resistance. And what resistance isn't, it's not a sign you shouldn't write. It's just part of the process. So I've done an MFA, and it was great. But what the MFA does not teach you, which is what we work with in the Story Intensive, is how to develop your own voice as a writer, and how to listen to that and trust your own writerly instincts. I actually started this teaching the Story Intensive while I was doing my MFA. And that was really helpful because the MFA was great for craft, but it also helped me lean into all of my worst fears about being a writer and why I couldn't do it. Craft or writing rules should not be something that you use to beat yourself up about why you shouldn't write. They should be something that you use to help tell the story only you can tell. And that is what is so wonderful about the Story Intensive. Okay, metaphor alert. So I just finished working out. I have a personal trainer now. I have never, ever, ever in my life been an exercise person. But I realized, I gotta exercise. It's good for me, so I hired a trainer. And for a long time, I felt bad about that I would need to hire a trainer to get me to exercise. Because I thought, well, if I really committed to do it, and if I really needed to do it, if I knew, I would just be able to do it on my own. But no. And I'm realizing that it's kind of the same with my writing. Because I've been struggling with my novel for a long time. And I've been trying to do it mostly on my own. No feedback, no community, just on my own. But the thing is, the most successful times I've had with writing is when I connect with the writing community of some kind. And, it's really hard to find a writing community. Mine has mostly come out of my MFA program. But beyond that, it's a struggle. It's genuinely tricky to find, the right writing community because, writing and sharing your writing requires vulnerability and trust and people who are not going to tear you down or make you feel bad or, play into your insecurities. So I've been admitting to myself that, I can't exercise alone, I can't write alone. And these things both make me feel good, even though they're sometimes really hard to start. But it's a lot easier doing that with other people. Anyway, we do better together, as writers, as people, we just do. And so I'm glad I can connect with you guys a little bit through this takeover, and I hope to connect with some with you next semester. So for a long time, I was looking at writing communities and feedback groups to tell me that I was good or give me feedback to show me how to be good. Because in my mind, if I was good, I deserved to be a writer. And what happened when I was doing that is I started writing stuff that, I didn't like. And for a long time, I thought the problem was me, that there was something wrong with me and my understanding of writing, that I didn't like the stuff that was supposed to be good. And one thing I learned from Sarah was that I had to let go of trying to be good because I had to let go of permission to be a writer because of some arbitrary goodness. And that includes stuff like goodness around writing routine, about writing every day at a structured time or a certain number of words. I had to let go of that because, it doesn't work for me, but it doesn't mean I'm not a writer. Instead, I find my best writing comes when I don't know if it's good. When I'm just writing and I have no idea if it's good or not good or what. And, it's a little uncomfortable because I like being good, but it's not what works. So the Story Intensive changed me as a teacher and a writer. because it taught me I'm not supposed to be like a teacher or a writer. I'm just supposed to be me on a page. So writing communities at their worst can kind of be like the Hunger Games, especially when you are not white. And that's really difficult because sharing what writing is vulnerable. And, I'm not going to say the story intensive is perfect because if you are also a non-white writer, um, you know, we're human. Nothing is perfect. We're all people doing our best. But what I will say is that, we are a writing program that realizes that writing is vulnerable and finding our own voice requires a community of great trust. So your voice, wherever you're writing from, is value, and your stories matter, and that's one thing that's very, very important to us our writing community. So the thing that surprises me every year when I teach the intensive is that all the writers are so good, and none of them think they're good. All of them think there's some reason why they're not a good writer, they're doing everything wrong. And it's like they've all made up rules for themselves. And what I love is that we sit and we figure out what those rules are that are in their head, and we break them down and realize all the rules are. So I know it's a cliche to say the story intensive is for everyone, but what I find is that it's for writers who, want to write or have been writing, but are somehow getting in their own way. And while we do craft and we talk about that and learn that, the biggest thing we do that many other courses don't do is that we talk about writing process. And we start unpacking all of the weird baggage we have around process. And in doing all the process work and figuring out that, we learn how to be our own writer, how to put ourselves and our voice and our heart and soul on a page. And that's who this course is for.